So in this video, I'd like to discuss why there's been such a delay, because I'm sure plenty of you have thought that the project is just derelict at this point, because it's been over a month since I've actually had a proper progress update. I'd also like to cover skiing and what this actually is in front of you, because this is not Project Freefall, and then kind of go over the future, where Project Freefall is going, because I've been talking with some other people that are in the related industry, like modelers and such. But first, what you're seeing here is not programmed by me. It's actually programmed by somebody on the UDK forums, and they provide it just as something that people can use to learn from, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm controlling a marble, effectively, what you can call it, and I'm just going around a maze, as you can see. Now, what's significant about this is that I'm controlling a physics object. I'm not... No, I ran out of time. I'm not controlling a pawn. I mean, I suppose I am a pawn, but I'm a pawn that's controlling a physics object. Anyhow, why this is significant is that pawn collision components are cylindrical by default, and when the cylinder component is compared against the world, it's actually converted into a cube just for efficiency's sake. But this is problematic for Project Freefall, and this is actually the result of all dead stops. Now, in theory, I say in theory because this is only if the documentation is actually correct in what it's telling me. In theory, if I set up skiing to where it's actually the player controlling a sphere that surrounds them, it will get rid of dead stops completely, and it should actually be impossible for them to happen, at least the dead stops we're having now. I mean, there could still be lag-related dead stops, but there shouldn't be world collision-related dead stops, which should get rid of, I'm guessing, 99% of them, because lag-related dead stops are very rare. They tend to just be warps. But anyhow, so what will happen is everybody will actually be controlling a sphere. It shouldn't be noticeable, but that's what's happening under the hood. And how this is different from the current model is the current model I'm actually shooting out some rays from the pawn. And rays work really well in that, as I mentioned in a previous video, UDK generates redundant geometry for collisions. And so if I turn off the collision components and rely on rays, the rays themselves actually can't hit this redundant geometry, and so they provide reliable collisions. The only issue is that they don't, unless I shot out an infinite amount of rays, they wouldn't hit all of the geometry. So there's a chance that they would just not hit certain things, and you'd be able to glitch through stuff. It's a very scrappy solution to something that I should have just changed a while ago. The sphere method is something I thought about doing a while ago, but I calculated in my head, I was like, the amount of time put into doing it and the chance that it might not work, it's probably better if I at least explore the ray tracing first. So that's what I did. But I'm going back to the sphere model because it seems to be the only method that will completely solve all of our problems. And not only will it get rid of dead stops, it'll actually do something that I was planning to do anyhow. Anybody who's played very fast-paced games will be familiar with the occurrence where, especially when you're going up to a elevated platform, that normally like the flag stand or something like that, this happens particularly in tribes, you're going up towards the flag stand and you barely don't have enough height, and like you're like a pixel width off, and your feet clip the platform, and you just completely stop dead. I call them ankle biters, and if I set up the skiing system to be such that you're actually controlling a sphere, ankle biters would be gone, just be gone. What would actually happen is you'd shoot off at a slightly oblique angle, so if you barely didn't hit that platform perfectly, you just kind of hop up a little bit. A bit more forgiving for those of us that, you know, it's a mistake that should have already been, in my opinion, solved, because it's way too punishing. But anyhow, it's just a nifty thing. Now, as far as the lack of updates, I'm sure that plenty of you have just, it's been over a month, that plenty of you have probably already gone, wow, this project's dead, and that kind of sucks. It isn't dead so much as I've just been dealing with a lot of unplanned chaos. Beyond the having to replace my cylinder head on my car, that sucked and took up quite a bit of time. Beyond that, I'm having some issues that are not related to me directly, but people I know, that might last for, I don't know, they could be, shit could be golden in a couple weeks, but they could last for a couple months. So I can't really say that progress is going to happen in a timely manner, but I will say that any changes or any progress that is made, I will post videos. And once the skiing is fixed and converted over to the marble method is what I'll call it, the game should be very playable online, and at that point I'll be able to dedicate my time to more less towards problems that actually require a lot of theory and then action, and more towards problems like creating weapons, where it's just I have an idea and then I convert it to code and test it to make sure that it actually works. They're far more straightforward, and so once skiing is done and works, things should progress even if I have a pretty chaotic schedule. And I said I'd go over, I've been talking with some other people. I've been talking with someone who they're interested in helping do the models for Project Freefall, because one of the things is that I cannot ask for any funding for the project if I use any UDK or Unreal Tournament related assets. And currently that's what I'm using. I'm using a Unreal Tournament player model along with Unreal Tournament weapons. So I can't actually ask for funding, nor would I really want to, because things have been so chaotic at the moment. But once things do cool down and become quite stable, I would like to ask for some funding, because if I had it, this project could be actually at a release state fairly quickly if I had stable income. But until then, funding won't happen. But it's just, I thought everybody should know that well, it's funny to find bugs in a program that I'm just kind of messing around with. Until then, I've been discussing with somebody. Wow, another bug. Discussing with somebody, they're interested in doing weapon models and such. At this point in time, they're not doing anything concrete at the moment, but it's mainly just because the project's been a bit lackadaisical. I've told them, because things are so chaotic on my side, I told them just take your time on whatever. If they do some concept art or something like that, I'll make sure to post it on the site so you guys can look at it and critique it or whatever, give your oohs and ahs. But that's it for this video. As I said, thanks for all your patience. If you have any questions or comments, you can of course post them in the YouTube comments, or you can head over to the Project Freefall forums, where I always check up on things. And look forward to new skiing whenever that comes out. I was hoping it was going to be out by this weekend, but things did not stabilize as I thought they would. But anyhow, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I tried to make it short, but it got quite long. But that's it.